Back for another update. Let's take a look at the PulseChain ecosystem today. Very bullish on PulseX, incentive token, pHEX, and eHEX. I think the Rich Start ecosystem is going to make a huge comeback in the year of 2025, considering we have almost 2 years of accumulation here. So this is about 667 days within this accumulation range. This is also a bullish pennant within a B wave. You have an ABCDE correction, and they all subdivide into 3 waves over here. Now, when we take a fib from our September 2024 low up to our December 2024 high, we did come down to the 78.6% fib. Notice this buy pressure when we got down here. You see this huge wick over here? You see this huge wick? That's someone that's an entity protecting the price at the 786. Don't underestimate how well these fib levels work. And right at the 786, you see this huge wick. So now what you may see here going forward is a move down to fill that wick, maybe 50 to 78.6% of the way, and then see a move back up, likely towards the point of control. Point of control would be where 70% or more of the volume is traded within this macro accumulation range. Once you get back to the point of control and then start consolidating around this area, right, around this area, and then you get a daily close above it, then it's very likely we're going to go ahead and have that macro breakout to the upside. First point of interest would be the 2.618, 3.618, and 4.236 extension measured from our May 2023 high down to our September 2023 low. Okay, this would be the conservative targets where you'd want to look to take some profit off of the table. You wouldn't take all of the profit, you would just take some. The reason for that is because I do think it heads higher than these levels. You just want to be safe here. But the time is near where the correction is almost done here on PulseX, considering we did come down to nearly all of my downside targets here. So PulseX is looking good, and we can even take a look at the stock RSI. Let's see how that's looking on the daily time frame. It's at the lows. On the 2-day, let's check it out. 3-day, it's at the lows, so it's in oversold territory. So it's looking good around here. Remember, you don't want to trade in and out of your spot bag within this region. Like I said in my previous videos, this is what's called a no trade zone. Okay, now when it comes to that wick fill, we would be looking at these fibs over here. This is your capitulation, right over here, right? This is I'll show you. This is your preliminary supply, your selling climax, your automatic rally, your secondary test, your fail breakout, your secondary test in phase B, which would be your wick fill. Okay, that would be your wick fill to the downside, a move down to these levels. So if we come down there, don't panic. It's likely just a wick fill, and then we see the pop up from there, right? It's the same type of structure that we had back when that SEC case came out, or sorry, the Interpol news came out, like right over here, right? This was your selling climax. You had your automatic rally, second test, fail break, and then you come down to fill that wick before we move to the upside. So that's what I'm expecting over here. The only difference is that I think that this is closer to a bottom than we were over here. So no trade zone in regards to your spot bag, because I do think that we're very close to an inflection point. Let's go ahead and take a look at incentive token over here. We'll just take a very quick look. And then we'll take a look at PLS, and then we'll take a look at pHEX. So this is incentive token right here. Incentive token is holding the Fibonacci levels. Okay, so PulseX, you see how we swept these lows? These lows are holding right now, so we'll see how these lows hold. But in layman's terms, I want to make it very simple and quick for you guys. This just looks like Wyckoff reaccumulation. Okay, and these are all of your Fibonacci support levels. As you guys can see, we double tap the 61.8% fib. The worst case scenario would be we come down to the 702 or the 786 and then we see the pop up from there, and then that would be your perfect ABC correction. Otherwise, your ABC correction is already in, and this is just chop at the lows before we have that move to the upside. But just know that incentive token, regardless of whether this is an ABC or if the correction is done, we should see the pop up, considering we only have one wave here, right? This is your A wave or your wave 1, and this is your B wave or your wave 2. All we're missing now is our wave 3 or your wave C, which would likely take us to around 27 bucks. The reason I say 27 is because that is the reason I say 27 is because that is the 78.6% fib on the logarithmic scale. So sorry, it's actually 24 bucks. Yeah, let me see here. Yeah, 25, 26, 25 to 27 bucks. And then the 786 on the linear scale is 63. So as you guys can see, this is just an accumulation range, right? 292 days, so almost 1 year. If we do come down a little bit lower, don't panic. It's likely just coming down to the key retracement levels. Let's go ahead and take a look at PLS. Okay, so this is PLS over here. And sorry, this isn't the correct one. Let me take a look here. All right, this is the chart that I made on PLS, as you guys can see. ABCDE correction. Now, we actually made a new low over here. We made a new low, but it looks like the price wants to get back and retract back into this range. So as long as price can get back above this yellow line here, let me show you guys. Okay, so this is the low at 403270. If price can get back above this yellow line on the daily time frame, then I'm very positive this is bottomed over here, because this looks like what's called a wave 5 throwover, where you have deviation below a psychological support. You see this psychological support over here? It's very obvious that this is structural support. When you break that, think about what it does to the normal retail mind, right? They think that it's over, it's done, it's finished. So they just sell it off. And who do they sell it off to? When price sweeps this psychological low, who do you think they're selling it off to? Think about that. So we'll continue to watch the ecosystem. I want to see PLS see a retraction back above this yellow line on the daily to confirm our bullish bias. I don't want to see it drop any lower. Okay, I don't want to see PLS drop any lower in order to maintain our bullish bias. Now let's go ahead and take a look at HEX. This is pHEX over here. Okay, so this is pHEX, and pHEX has come down to the 78.6% fib. As you guys can see, we invalidated this head and shoulders fake out, okay? Because we dropped down this low. Like I said in my previous stream, if we were to drop down below the 61.8% fib, we would come down to these range lows for a test or a last point of support. As you guys can see, we came down to the 786. Okay, so now what I would be expecting here is for price to make its way back above these range highs. Now, this is all Wyckoff accumulation. There's a reason I'm saying we make our way back above the range highs, is because this is your Wyckoff range, right? This is your spring. This is your spring. This is your initial advance, your throwback or your test before you have expansion. Okay, you can take a look at it in a very simplified format. So this is your range right over here. This is the pHEX range. And this is exactly what we saw. Right? This was your manipulation with deviation below the range. You see this manipulation, and then you had a huge pump to the upside. That's because this was your spring in Wyckoff accumulation. So you had a huge pump to the top of the range. You have max euphoria, max people longing. People max longing this resistance level, right? Price has a retraction back down to the lower bounds of the range for your test. So this would be called your spring. Now I'm not making up all these words. These are actual terms in Wyckoff accumulation. This is your test / LPS. Okay, so as long, and you know where this came down to? It came right down to the 78.6% fib. You see where it came down to? Came right down to the 786. So remember, if this 786 can hold, then I would be expecting the next move to take us above the last all-time high. These are the short-term Fibonacci resistance levels. And in order for our bullish bias to remain intact, I'll say it one more time, these lows need to hold, and price needs to get back above this 786 and this 702 as well. So, this level right here, this 702, this 786 at 0.023 and 0.025. Get above these two levels, then we know for sure that this is the low over here. Also, this looks like an ABC correction. This is your A, your B, and then your C wave down. Right? That's your ABC down. And then this is your wave 1. Okay? So this is your wave 1 or A, your wave 2 or B, and now we come up for a wave 3 or C. Likely a wave 3. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to let me know. Peace out. Take it easy. See you in the next one.